Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Kind Heart Defenders, a hybrid tower defense shooter. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Ludo Thinking, Kind Heart Defenders originally released for the PC in December of 2022. In September of 2023, it released for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch, and that's the version we're looking at today. So as mentioned, this game combines shoot 'em ups with tower defense, and although it's not very strong in either of those two categories, combined together, it comes across as at least a relaxing, enjoyable experience that, especially given the value price of the game, I can recommend at that price point. There's not a ton of content here, so that also factors into only being able to recommend it at a lower price. So diving into the game itself, there's no main menu. You always start on the stage select screen here after you've completed the tutorial. So there are 10 stages that we can play through in the game, and then there's an endless mode, which is enjoyable to play but does have a couple issues. So starting the game, well, there are some upgrades that we'll get to in a moment, but we'll play through the first stage first. Starting the game, we're taken to our difficulty selection. Here you can choose easy, medium, or hard. Initially you just start with one unlocked, and then you have to unlock by completing easy, you'll unlock medium, medium unlocks hard. So selecting the difficulty selection, we're taken to our ship selection, and here things get a little bit interesting. So Enthusiasm is the ship I do enjoy the most because it has a higher rate of fire. But you also have Luck with 20% more HP, Dream with more damage, and Sweetness that gives you more coins. So for our purposes today, we'll be showing off the game with Enthusiasm. Basically, the pilots you have kind of represent these positive emotions or feelings, and we're fighting these like negative emotions. In addition to selecting your ship, you can also choose to equip certain consumables. So we can equip a bomb, we can equip a laser, and we can equip a shield. And these are with the coins that we earn throughout the course of our gameplay. Once that's taken care of, we can make sure to move back to the ship, otherwise you'll accidentally purchase additional power-ups. And pressing confirm will take us to the stage itself. So this is the first stage of Kind Heart Defenders. So as far as the stage presentation, although it's kind of a vertical presentation as far as the way the ship is oriented, it's a fixed screen shooter, so it's only a single screen that we're existing on. There's a little bit of dialogue between Sadness and Enthusiasm here, and off we go. So it is relatively like a simple shoot 'em up. We have our main shot, and like as we defeat enemies, they'll drop coins, and for each confirmed hit, we'll also get basically tech or turret points that we can use to build turrets. So on a Switch controller, you can press the right trigger, and that will take us into the build menu for the turrets. This is really where a lot of the meat and potatoes of the game is. So on this stage we have 6 potential build spots. So we'll go ahead and pick this top left one, as the enemies are mainly coming from the top of the screen, and we can choose between 4 different turrets to build. So there's kind of the candy cane color one. This is basically your directional turret. It will target an enemy and then shoot at it once an enemy is within its range. The multi-directional just continually fires out in multi-directions from its center. The area damage will just kind of like bloom out, and any enemies in that like bloom will get hit, and the missiles will fire missiles at the enemies. So these are strong, but the homing is terrible on them. So as much as I usually love missile turrets, don't go with them. In my opinion, the best turret in the game is the candy cane one for sure. It's the cheapest, and ultimately it will serve you the best in the course of your gameplay. So we'll go ahead and start with one of those, and if you have enough points, you can also upgrade it from this screen as well. So we will take it immediately to a level 2. So it has a slightly darker area around it that indicates its range, and as enemies enter it, it will focus on those enemies and fire at them. When a turret deals damage to enemies, that will also gain you the tech points that we're otherwise getting by destroying the enemies themselves, so you can kind of propagate the turrets that way. We have enough to build a couple more turrets, so we'll throw in the 4-leaf clover one there. We'll build a star here, and let's build a missile turret there. So those are our 4 turrets, and you can continually upgrade them should you want, but for the most part, I think it's usually best to maybe build a couple turrets and focus those ones up all the way to the highest level. So you start off with basically a level 0 turret, and you can upgrade them all the way to a level 4 turret. The first 3 levels largely are your radius, and then the last upgrade will increase its strength in one way or another. So for the candy cane turret, for example, it fires significantly faster. Throughout the course of the stage, we will occasionally get various pickups, either HP ups or additional consumables. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the consumables. We have a shield, and this will make us invulnerable to enemies, and we can also use the shield to destroy the enemies as well. There's a laser, which is fairly straightforward, but at least at the level I've upgraded it to at this point, it does not last long at all. And last, we have a bomb, which is pretty straightforward. That bomb will just kind of clear enemies in the space that it impacts, like so. And those are your consumables. So this is a tower defense, so in addition to building towers, we have something that we're defending. At the bottom of the stage, we have this heart, and as the heart is, its HP is represented in the top left next to our own HP. So if either we die or if the heart takes fatal damage, then that's game over and we're returned to the main stage. So I mentioned the coins that we've been collecting from the enemies. So those are largely just based for upgrades or purchasing the consumables at the beginning of the stage. And then the tech points will only exist for this stage. So in this case, if we wanted to go in here, move up to our candy cane turret, for example, we have enough points to upgrade it all the way. We can actually do that with the clover one as well. So now you can see how effective those turrets are at this point. They definitely have their uses at a higher level, but unlike a lot of your tower defense titles, you're not going to be able to depend solely on the tower defense to defeat the enemies. You'll still have to get in there and do most of the work yourself. So that's where when I say it's not necessarily a good tower defense, there's that. And as far as a shoot 'em up is concerned, it's relatively bland. So at this point, you've seen a lot of the enemy types that you're going to go and see throughout the course of the gameplay. They do look different on the other stages, but largely just palette swaps. So when you complete an odd number stage, the stage is finished with this carrier showing up, giving you additional coins. And then after a short pause, which does seem a bit unnecessary, probably just to give you additional time to pick up those coins, we're taken to our results screen here, where we have number of enemies defeated, points earned, and coins earned as well. There are objectives that you can aim to complete for every stage. You're not going to be able to complete every single one on one playthrough, as one involves building all the tower types, whereas another build is involved building or winning the stage without building any towers. So, back at the main menu, before we jump into stage 2, let's jump real quick into the upgrades. So here you can upgrade several different elements of your ship, the heart that we're defending, or our consumables. So we can increase the ship's life, the weapons, and the magnets, so basically how far away it'll pull in the coins that the enemies drop, and then we also have the life for the heart and the strength of our various consumables. So I've been mainly focusing on the ship and the hearts, with not so much the consumables, so there's not a whole lot of time spent in there. All the bars, when you reach the top of the bar, so let's go ahead and upgrade the bomb all the way, it will get a star and move to the second level. So for the weapon, for example, your main shot for the ship, it starts off at just just a single beam. When you get 1 star, it's a double beam, and with 2 stars right now, it's a triple beam. So there is some reason to go and upgrade it, but past a certain point, it doesn't really seem like it's as big of a return, as you're kind of just making the game maybe a little bit too easy at that point. Anyway, with all that said, let's dive into stage 2, and we'll kind of go over like final thoughts. So the odd number stages will just end with that carrier, but the even number stages will have a boss at the end. So in this case, it would be the boss Sadness in theory. Finally, face to face, I will defeat you without a fight, the supreme art of war. My low spirits are contagious, and combined with the hopelessness, make any Hercules a mere weakling. I feel safe now. My strength is to find excitement in simple things. Did you see the sunset today? So at the end of the day, although I can recommend Kind Heart Defenders if you like what you see here, given that it is a nice like value title, there's not a whole lot more to offer than what you've seen here. The environments are relatively bland and plain. The enemy types, although there are some palette swaps and some different looks, and some stages do have a couple other newer, unique types of enemies, there's not enough variety there to make the gameplay super engaging. Instead, it just kind of comes across as just a relaxing, almost kind of like a game where you're not so much idling, but in a lot of ways that kind of feeling. So as far as the minus flavors are concerned, you have the problem with just like the bland graphics and the enemy types as well, and just a need for more varied content and enemy waves, that sort of thing. After playing for just a little bit, we kind of get the overall like flow of the game itself. I do wish like the turrets had a little bit more effectiveness to them, as well as I mentioned. I really enjoy using missile turrets in games where there's like tower defense, but like the missile turret in this one is kind of poor in that its homing is just ineffective. Like if it fires at a stationary enemy, for example, the homing missile will just circle the enemy rather than actually hit the homing. Some of the menuing is also a little bit difficult as well. Cycling through the difficulty, the ships, seems a little bit like unresponsive when you're starting a stage, and then when you're in some of the stages on the build menu, sometimes it's like not always taking you to what you would think would be the most logical like step for pressing the button to get from one particular turret build spot to another. For quite a while I was actually trying to get to the bottom left and was just going in like a diagonal line there, so the controls can be a little bit of an issue. But on the plus side, I do just kind of like that like relaxing, like chill feeling that the game just has. It's just a vibe where you can kind of just like kick back and build some turrets, blast some enemies, collect some coins, and get some upgrades. And if that's the kind of thing you like at a value price, then yeah, this is a title that might be worth checking out on the Switch or the PlayStation 4. It's also available on Steam, of course, so like definitely. That's Kind Heart Defenders, served up for your enjoyment. Alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us this week. I hope you have a wonderful week yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Aw, thank you.